So this video is just a quick overview of the platform. We released a lot of new features and a complete UI UX redesign. So it's not super detailed. I don't want it to be super detailed. There's other videos for that, but this is just to give you a general idea of what to expect within our platform. So as you can see on the left-hand side, there's Studio, Brain, Skills, Routines, Connected Sources, and the API SDK. I'll start with actually the skills. This is the easiest probably to comprehend. And this is, think of it as a skill in Claude, an MD file. This is a blueprint, right? So you can set it where you have a specific skill on how to create one-pagers, a specific skill on how to reply to emails, a specific skill on how to understand your Fathom calls that you recorded. So these are all things that you can build. You can build it directly here with Create a Skill, or you can do it in our studio. Now, on top of that is routines. And routines is a way for you to think of how do I trigger certain actions, whether it's daily digest, whether it's based on a PR commit, whether it's based on potentially a call finishing. All of those things are possible as long as you set up the trigger point. So in this case, I have one where maybe it's a Monday pipeline digest. It pulls in all of the information from my CRM, it pulls in information from my Fathom calls, and it understands what's the current progress with my accounts. And the great thing about this too is that you can almost think of it as like daisy chaining different skills within it. So when a routine runs, there is an LLM within it. So it understands certain things, it understands certain logic, it reasons as well. So one thing that I can do within routines is say, for example, I can set it where after every call, understand if it's a sales call, if it's a partnership call, is it a call with a current customer, is it an internal call, and then file it in a different way or do certain tasks based on the categorization of that call. And then in terms of connected sources, this is just a great way for you to actually connect to the different databases or contexts that you have. The whole point is about unification within our memory hub. So you can, connect with your different AI tools, you can connect with your different call recording, go-to-market tools, engineering tools, etc. You can also connect it to Slack, so that way notifications can show up in Slack as well. Now let's get into Studio. So Studio is really where you make it all happen, right? This is like kind of your way of describing a task, describing a routine, creating a skill. And so for one example here is that you can see I created exactly what I mentioned. It's like after every call, figure out, what type of call it is, and then if it is that particular call, do certain actions on it. And it'll go through this process of asking me some questions about, what it needs, what are some things that needs to clarify, what are the brains that needs to get created, what are potentially skills and routines that it can create as well, and it goes out and does it. The great thing about this too is that, when you look at brains, right, this is really kind of piecing everything back together. So you have the skills, you have the routines, now you really need the context. And so in this case, the brain is where you can, have one particular account in each brain, so that way everyone working on that account, they can get connected to this and their agents will have the most up-to-date information. A really cool example of this too is that you can set guardrails, right? Especially if you're a sales manager or maybe an engineering manager, you could set guardrails for how your team's agents utilize this brain. So in this case, one quick example is maybe every time they send out, customer-facing information about that particular customer, they shouldn't use named customer. They should use clients. That's the way that their client wants to be addressed. Another could be we only want to focus on retail. And so in this case, anything about, a salesperson saying, hey, I want to go out and find manufacturing businesses similar to the current one that we have, it will stop it in place and say, hey, it seems like you actually should only be targeting retail verticals. And so this is something you can set within sales, but also engineering, so that way it is following a spec-driven approach. Now, the great thing too is that it can actually connect directly to your Claude Cowork, Claude Code, Codex, anything that has MCP. And so in this case, what you're seeing is that I can pull the information here as well, and I can update that information as well too. And this is just to give you an example, a quick example of me trying to skirt around those guardrails. And you notice that, I want to create an email addressed to this person at Northwind and mention, we want to have him as a customer. Well, it kind of actually forbids me to do that. It says, hey, it violates one of these rules, the guardrails that my manager set. And instead, maybe you can change it in a way, say, hey, you want to have Northwind as a client. And something that happens, and this is kind of funny, is that, As I'm recording this, Claude is down. And so the great thing about our platform is that you can actually port this over to Codex. You can do it on Gemini. You can do it directly within our system as well. So you're not limited by anything because all of this is centralized, it's unified, and it's always up to date. So all of this context that you have, all of the information, you can access it really anywhere you go. So I'll end with this. Really, this platform gives you the Lego blocks on how to build things, how to create different routines, how to build a brain. It's really up to you and your imagination on how you want to use it. And if there's any specific connectors that you're interested in us being able to connect to, feel free to reach out. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you.